In today's video, we are going to animate an Easter egg, or an exploding Easter egg with all of the contents all spilling out. A little bit like this. Let me show you how to do that right now inside the Cinema 4D. Right, let's make an Easter egg and then smash it all up. How exciting. Right, I promise now that I won't do any more of those EGG-cellent style jokes. Let's just get on and build this thing. Right, so what we need is a sphere. There it is. Let's put in 50 in the segments. And let's grab a freeform deformer. And let's put it as a child of the sphere, and then fit to parent, and then change this grid points to 5, 5, and 5. Okay, now if we go into the front view here and change the selection to rectangle selection, and then put it in point mode, we want to just lasso this top line and then push it up about there so it looks like an egg. Okay, then we come out of that, and we can now right click on here and say connect objects and delete, and then go back to object mode. So there is our basic egg shape. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create the pattern that you see on a typical Easter egg. Yeah, so it's kind of got like a crazy paving effect all over it, hasn't it? So what we do is we use our good old favourite Voronoi fracture, and then we put the sphere as a child of that, and then we get this pattern, but that's not quite the shapes we want. So what we do is we go on Voronoi fracture, we go to sources, and we delete this point generator tag, just take that out, and then we just here it says add shader source, so we want to add that one in. Click on the shader, and where it says shader here, look, go on the little arrow, go to surfaces, and then go down to tiles. Okay, and now we'll change the sample mode to surface, because we only want this on the surface. And then if we take this down to say what, somewhere like 80, and that I think will be about right. Let's just see, let's just take it down a little bit more. Let's go 70. Okay, let's work with that. What we do now is we go to object and we say we want the hull only on this, and we'll have a hull thickness of say 10, and then we're going to offset the fragments slightly by 1 centimeter, so we get that broken shape like that. Okay, so we need something inside this, because you can see straight through these holes, look. Okay, so that's the outer edge, but imagine it's like crazy paving, where you need to lay these pieces onto like a concrete bed. So we're going to put that piece in next. So all we need to do is just rename this sphere an egg. Let's copy that egg outside of the group, so it's up there, and let's get the scale tool and just shrink that down somewhere like that, so it's just under the surface. Okay, and that's what I was talking about. It's like these pieces are bedded onto, I don't know, like a concrete or mortar bed. So that's the effect we want there. Let's copy the egg again, and this time let's call it seam, because we're going to use this to make a seam that runs around the egg, you know, like you see on these chocolate eggs, the mold of the chocolate. So what we do is we just want to increase this up again, just so it's bigger than the egg, like that. And then we click on it and we go to coordinates, and then on this X coordinate here, let's just put a 0.1. And as you can see, we have now got this this at the moment kind of low poly looking seam that runs around there. Right, so these are the pieces, believe it or not, that we need to make it look like an egg. So how do we make it look better than this? Because this, quite frankly, isn't that excellent at the moment. I think that would be a good time to put a tumbleweed whistling noise over that bit. Okay, I'm not trying to do them, by the way. If they accidentally, you know, fall out of my mouth, these egg puns, then so be it. But I'm honestly not trying to do them. Okay, right. So what we need then to make this look like an egg is a volume builder. So we put all of these pieces, select them all, and then put them all as a child of the volume builder. And then you get this fuzzy voxel mess, really. Right, all we need to do is click on it, go down here where it says voxel size, where it says 10, and let's have 0.5. Now, voxel, I'm fairly sure, is the term for a 3D pixel. I mean, that's just how I see this. It's just like a pixel. So if the smaller the squares, the more tight and more geometry the thing will have. So that is getting there. We're getting there. We need another thing to do. We need to click on this SDF smooth. Click on that. That'll add it into the list, and that will smooth this thing over like that. Look at that. That's now really starting to take on the appearance of an egg. Right. What else are we going to do here? We need, now you're not going to see this at this stage, but what we need, because this thing is solid all the way through, okay, and I don't know about you, but most eggs that I buy around Easter, and I suppose as a child I wish this would have been not the case, but they're very hollow, aren't they? They're made of a very thin chocolate, and I just used to imagine these as being solid chocolate when I was a child. And I think I even got one that was solid once, and I thought, blimey, this is how they should be. And then everyone from then on was completely hollow. So we're going to make the hollow version. So what we do is this egg one we've got in here, the one that we set back slightly, we're going to copy that one again. Let's put it in let's put it on top of the seam, but in the same group. And what we're going to do with this one is click on the volume builder, and here we've got it here, and it says union, the mode. We want to change that to subtract. It's now going to act a little bit like a Boolean effect. It's going to take that away. That egg is going to be taken away from the geometry. I can show you that if I create a sphere. Because I just want to show you what's happening in there, because you can't really see. So just take a sphere like this, and we'll put it up there, and we're going to use this to like bite a piece out of the egg. Okay, so if we put that sphere under the volume builder, click on volume builder, and where it says union, we need to subtract this as well. Okay, and then if we do that, just wait a couple of seconds here, because it does take a little while for this to do. There we go. So as you can see inside the egg, okay, because we've used one of the eggs to subtract from the main part of the egg that's got the Voronoi fracture on, and it's got the thickness on it. This is now being subtracted from the inside, so it's giving you an internal volume inside that. Okay, so we're not going to use the sphere. That was just to show you that this egg is hollow inside. So we'll take out the sphere and just wait for that to rebuild. Okay, so we've got our egg, we've got a hollow inside. Right, and what we need to do now, because if I render that, you'll see there's nothing there, because a volume builder is, like I said before in a previous video, is a little bit like creating a spline before you put the geometry onto it. It's just a vehicle to place something on. So this is just creating a volume, but it's not creating any geometry. Okay, so what we need is a mesher, which comes in the little kit next to this one. You've got the volume builder, and now we need the volume mesher. we put all of this volume builder as a child of the mesher. Okay, and then it will go into this very, very, very tight mesh. Now, there's far too many meshed pieces on there. So what we do is we click on the mesher, and then we go to this adaptive slider here, and then we just bring that forward. And you can see straight away that if you just bring that forward a few times, it's taking away a lot of that geometry. So I mean, I would say about 2 is fine. Okay, so now we've got the mesher. If we just go to the render, you'll see the shape. You see the basic form of the egg and the seam around it. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to create one piece of geometry out of this, because we don't want a volume mesher and a builder and a Voronoi fracture. It's too many things. So we're going to connect and delete. So it just puts it all into just one polygon object, which is that. Okay, that's exactly what we need to do. So if we just go back to our shading lines. So we've got that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use another, let's just call this egg while we're here. We're going to use another Voronoi fracture to break this, like you would when you get your Easter egg and you break through the outer hull of the chocolate and it breaks up. So we're going to achieve that effect by using another Voronoi fracture. We're going to put the egg as a child of the Voronoi fracture, and then we get all these classic pieces that you normally see with the Voronoi fracture when you first use it. We are going to click here where it says hollow object. Okay, we want to use the hollow part of this object that we've just created with the volume mesher. Okay, so we created this with a hollow inside, didn't we? So we could make sure we check that, and that will give us that hollow object back when we do this. We now need to go to, let's take off the colorized fragments, and let's go to sources, click on point generator, and let's take these down to 6. Let's have a few less pieces. Okay, now we are going to, let's just put a chocolate color on this now. Let's just guess some kind of nice looking chocolatey color. A little bit of reflectance on there. Let's go for, I don't know, something like Ward, and let's bring these down to only about 2% on the reflection and the specular. We don't want too much. I mean, the chocolate on these eggs, if you have a look, is not that shiny. It's just got this very slight sheen to it, like a soft sheen. Okay, so if we apply that chocolate to the Voronoi fracture, it's starting to look very much like an Easter egg. This has now got the Voronoi fracture broken pieces on it. So if we put a floor in here, let's lift up our egg so it's not in the floor. Let's put a collider body on the floor, and you've guessed it, let's put a rigid body on the Voronoi fracture, which is now, let's call that the Easter egg. Okay, excellent. Okay, yeah, I'm going to probably bleep over any of those egg jokes. So we've got that, we've got the floor. Let's put the floor at the bottom, because I like these things to be in order. So here's our egg at the top with a solid body, solid collider body on, sorry, a rigid body on, and a floor with a collider body on. So this may take a few seconds, 10 seconds odd before it starts, but let's just try and play this and see if it breaks up as we expect. All right, let's play that. I'll have a sip of coffee while that's doing that. There we go, just in time. Right, what I'll do is I'll add a few more frames. Let's just stop this for a second. It's got a little bit of delay now, you see, because there's quite a few processes it's trying to work out. But we can cache all of this, which I will show you in a second. Let's put 500 frames in, and let's just run that again. There we go, it's broken up. And it's just, yeah, settling into position like that, look. So I think you'll agree that's pretty convincing style. you know, it's a little bit blocky. We could probably improve that, especially if we have a tighter mesh on the volume mesher before we do this. We can get a little bit more geometry here, but I'm doing this a little bit more for speed and not for like the final presentation. How you would do if he's going to render this out properly or use it in a scene. But that's just to give you that lovely effect where we're using the Voronoi fracture twice. The first one is a shader to get the pattern on the egg, and then closing all the geometry down, so we just got a plain, polygon object. And then using the Voronoi fracture the second time to achieve the broken up, like smashed part of the egg. Okay, so it's a nice little effect used twice, but in two different ways. Right, what we can do now is we can put some, what am I going to call these so it's not a copyright issue? We're going to put some clever clog sweets in here. I don't know if you know what that. Let me show you. Let me draw some, then you'll see what I'm trying to say. Right, so we'll start with a sphere, and we will make that a lot smaller. Let's go 10, shall we? See how we get on. Okay, let's make that editable, and let's just squash that in one direction like that. Can you tell what it is yet? Okay, so we'll put we'll call it a Clever Clog suite. Clever Clog sweets. There we go. Now what we do is we're going to grab a cloner. Right, and let's put the Clever Clog suite into the cloner, and then we need to adjust the cloner to like a sphere shape. Let's just lift this up, and let's have a few more in all directions, and then let's put the distance between them. Let's try going down to 20. Let's have a look at what that shows, because what we don't want them to be touching at this point. Okay, so we need to make sure that there are gaps all around them. Okay, I think that's okay actually. Let's put a rigid body on and just see what these are going to do. Let's just turn off the Voronoi fracture there, and then let's just drop these and see if these will it'll probably take a little while for these to actually start to drop. That's the problem with working with dynamics. It just all take a little bit longer. Okay, yeah, I think they'll drop nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually pop these inside the egg. I'll tell you what, before we do that, let's make a couple of colours, right? Because quite frankly, they're not great when they're just white. So let's make some colours. Some Clever Clog sweet colours, whatever they look like, something like this. So what we'll do is we'll create, and we're just going to duplicate a few of these, and then let's just put a blue one on there. Let's put an orange one on there. Let's make a red one. Pop that on there, and probably let's make a nice yellow, and let's just have another one like that. So we're just going to make a few types, right? And what we're going to do with the cloner is we're going to say blend or random, probably random, yeah, like that. So we just got a few colours, and also while we're here, let's just make sure that we've got a nice like a Beckman reflection on there, just so they shine a little, because they've got like this hard, crispy outer coating on these particular Clever Clog sweets, I believe. Right, so what we do then is we just pop them inside the egg, so they're in there, and then we can turn back on the Easter egg, the Voronoi fracture, and then we can press play, and I might put up a few egg jokes while we're waiting for this, because it could take quite a long time for this to happen. So let's just press play and I'll see you in a minute. Well, that happened a lot quicker than I thought. That's really, really good. Let's try that again. So just wait a little while, and wait for it. And there we go, look at that. The egg breaks and all of the clever little clog sweets fall out. Absolutely lovely. Reminds you of a lovely Easter Sunday, especially with the kids. That looks a little bit like our bed after the kids have been in there. Probably minus a bit of the chocolate and sweets, because they wouldn't leave it like that. But yeah, so that's it. You can have so many effects with this. You can do all sorts of things with these eggs. You can fill them with anything. You can have them break apart at any point. You can even hit them with an object to break the egg. If you want to see any more egg animations, I was trying to think how you could do egg-amations then, but it doesn't work. If you want to see any more of these, comment below and I'll make some other variations on this, and I will promise not to do any more EGG-cellent jokes while I'm doing it. If you liked it, please like the mic, give Mike a like. And then my channel will grow and I'll do more of these videos, and hopefully you're enjoying them. And if you've got any suggestions for anything that you'd like to see animated, put it in the comments below and I'll see if I can make a video for you. My name is Mike German from Visual Animation. Take care. Goodbye for now.